President Duterte says the needs of those affected by Mount Bulusan's eruption in Sorsogon are already being addressed. He says concerned government agencies are conducting relief operations in affected areas. More evacuation sites are also now being prepared in case the situation worsens. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council says nearly 3,000 families were affected by the eruption, as dozens had to evacuate their homes.
People who are affected by dyan sa Sorsogon, lalo na yung mga barangay na which government has nagpo-forecast na sila ng worst scenario, there will be a lot of movement of people. But I'm sure that government can cope up and will be there to help everybody. Kasi ang iba matigas pa. We are there. The government is there to help.
Yung 446 evacuation centers ay nasa labas ng 9-kilometer danger zone. Yan ang magagamit nila in the event na i-implement natin yung forced or mandatory evacuation.
Sorsogon Governor and Senator-elect Cheese Escudero meanwhile believes communities near Mount Bulusan are in no immediate danger. That's as he described media reports on the ground as exaggerated.
It has been sensationalized to a large extent because the ashfall only happened for about 17 minutes. Wala namang delikado ang buhay dahil yung 4-kilometer danger zone, wala na talagang bahay doon. Barangay lamang na inabot ng abo yung apektado. So wala namang immediate na panganib sa buhay nila at you have to understand too, we disrupted the lives of these people, face-to-face na kami dito, so apektado rin yung mga bata. Of the 216 individuals that we evacuated, majority of them are children.
Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte urging Filipinos to rally behind his successor Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. In his weekly address, the outgoing president called on the public to respect the decision of the majority and to accept the results of the recent elections. Duterte emphasized this will be crucial in the success of the next administration. Marcos and Duterte's daughter Sara Duterte Carpio have been proclaimed as the winners of the presidential and vice presidential races after dominating the polls with an overwhelming margin. They will formally assume office noontime of June 30 and will stay in power until 2028.
President-elect Marcos would need the cooperation and help of everybody. We must give it to him. That's democracy. That is how we operate. And pag nagsalita na yung taong bayan, kung sino yung mga leader na gusto nila, sunod tayo. Iwasan ninyo yung politika at lahat yung mga kaibigan ko o nagsuporta sa akin, we rally behind to the elected leaders of our country.
President-elect Marcos met with his economic team Monday at his Mandaluyong headquarters. The incoming Finance Secretary, Benjamin Jokno, attended the meeting, along with the new Chief Economist, Arsenio Balisacan, and the incoming heads of the Budget, Labor, and Public Works Department. The new Central Bank Governor, Felipe Medalla, was also present. Marcos was said to have issued his plans and marching orders to help the economy recover from the effects of the pandemic.
Southeast Asian envoys paid a courtesy visit Monday to Philippine President-elect Marcos at his headquarters in Mandaluyong City. The diplomats included Thailand's Chargé d'Affaires and ambassadors of Laos, Cambodia, Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore, and Vietnam. Italy's Ambassador Marco Clemente held a separate meeting with Marcos. Incoming Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles says the two discussed possible cooperation in infrastructure projects. The Italian envoy also told Marcos of his plan to have the Inter Milan Football Club visit the Philippines to promote the sport of Filipinos. The planned visit would mark the 75th year of diplomatic relations between Italy and the Philippines.
The U.S. Deputy Secretary of State will also set to meet President-elect Marcos in Manila this week. The visit by Wendy Sherman as part of her tour of Asian countries from June 5th to 14th Her tour seeks to reaffirm Washington's support to the Indo-Pacific region. Sherman is expected to discuss U.S.-Philippine bilateral ties in her meeting with Marcos Jr. and her senior officials of the incoming and outgoing administrations. But Marcos's incoming press secretary, Trixie Cruz Angeles, said Monday that they have no specific details yet of Sherman's meeting with the president-elect. Sherman's visit to Asia follows last month's U.S.-ASEAN Special Summit and U.S. President Biden's visit to Japan and South Korea.
Philippine Solicitor General Jose Calida asked the Supreme Court to dismiss a petition that seeks to cancel the candidacy of President-elect Marcos. Calida told the High Court the petition of Father Christian Buenafe was rendered moot by the proclamation of Marcos as the country's 17th president. He argued that Marcos did not commit false material representation as he was never convicted of an offense which imposed a penalty of perpetual disqualification from public office. Calida also insisted the Supreme Court has no jurisdiction to restrain Congress from performing its function as the National Board of Canvassers for the presidential and vice presidential races. The Solgen filed the comments on behalf of the Commission on Elections and the House of Representatives.